Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Quartzsite, Arizona on the 20th of November, 2024. And the temperature outside, believe it or not, is 38 degrees. Brr. It's balmy in here. I like it warm at night. I get cold pretty easily. And the weather this week, today it's going to be a high of 72 under sunny skies. And let's take a look at the wind situation. And we have a max wind occurring early afternoon, 7 miles per hour. So that's what's known in Quartzsite as a perfect day. Tomorrow, high of 76, then subsequent days, highs of 76, 77, 75. Beautiful days, all sunny. Saturday, it looks like partly cloudy and 75. The lows are creeping up a bit, 44, 47, 55, and 52. And I don't see any of the little icons warning for high winds. So looks like a picture perfect Quartzsite week ahead. So comments, we got quite a few of them because I am experiencing a growth spurt. My Quartzsite videos since I got here last week have been just exploding. This one, I never saw this come. You heard me say that I did one just on my campsite, and I was like baffled as to why so many views? What's going on? What the heck did I miss here? What kind of fluke is this? And let me tell you what one that was. That was my complete Quartzsite boondocking campsite is right now is at 14,000 views. And the one from yesterday was me doing a video on the experience I've had so far with how to heat my trailer boondocking over the past 3 or 4 years, over the past 4 years anyway. And that so far is we're at 10,000 views. And it's just been, I think it's just been barely 24 hours. So I'm dealing with a lot of comments, and I'm a little baffled about what's going on. No one really understands the YouTube algorithm, but one thing is it's 99% positive news. It's 1% bad news. And the 1% is when you get those kind of numbers, you get some pretty mean people out there. And I've had to hide. We hide a person from the channel, so you don't have to see the comments, and I don't have to see the comment they made or any ensuing comments that they make. But it's hard to but I guess it's a foregone conclusion. The more people you reach, the more likely you are to reach people that whatever you say, it's going to anger them. And certainly my heater video angered a lot of people. Not a lot of people, but it seemed like a lot, but it's not. So we'll go through some of the issues. We'll hit here almost one right away. Robert Nasser says, I use a buddy heater with a 20-pound tank and a self-powered chimney fan. Heats our 43-foot. The carbon dioxide detector needs to be at floor level because CO2 is heavier than air. Well, he misunderstood. I don't have a CO2 detector. That's carbon dioxide, which is a byproduct of what we breathe out. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide, which is the waste product. And it's not a terribly dangerous gas unless it's in super high concentration and it doesn't come from combustion. So would be completely, any high levels of carbon dioxide would be completely unrelated to a heat source. But carbon monoxide, which is what my detector is for, is critical when you have combustion happening, especially if you have something propane that if it isn't burning cleanly or properly vented or both, then you can have a buildup of carbon monoxide, which is why I have 2 carbon monoxide detectors, a primary and a backup. And I gave him the EPA recommendations on the placement of carbon monoxide, and he said, yes, CO2, which is carbon monoxide, is heavier. Carbon dioxide is lighter. The carbon monoxide on the ceiling, his carbon dioxide point on the floor. I guess there could be reasons to have a carbon dioxide detector. If you did, I guess it would be on the floor. I don't see a reason why I would need that type of detector. So anyway, there were a lot. Robert's been around for a while, and he was being very pleasant and nice about this, but there were people that were being pretty nasty about it. I did discover, and I had forgotten, anytime you talk about heating your rig with any kind of gas, people, especially people on the Mr. Buddy heater, go crazy thinking saying you're going to die, you're going to get poisoned, etc., etc. So depending on what heater you use, you have to follow the directions and follow the procedures. Like on Mr. Buddy heater, you got to crack windows, you got to have airflow through your rig, but the one I have is designed for residential use. It is designed to not need ventilation. The other thing, and I had to delete every single one of the ones on this topic because they all 100% of them were nasty, is buildup of humidity. And it's true that a byproduct of combustion of propane is moisture, and you can ruin your rig doing that, but not here in the desert, not in this environment. I have on the wall there, I have humidity readings. My heater's been going all night. The outside humidity is 10%, the inside is 13%, a negligible change. So no damage is being done due to moisture, due to my propane. Now, I do recall when I was using propane, like in Virginia, in the winter, you'd wait, and even with a vented system like the main furnace, I would wake up and the inside of the windows would be wet, really wet. That's what that was from. So you do need to be really careful if you're not in a very low humidity environment. If you're running propane heaters a lot, you can start to build up mold. And anyway, it's a thing, but it's not a thing in the desert, and it's not a thing with me. So, because the only time I use this heater is here in Quartzsite, and otherwise I don't use it. Like if I'm up in other places where I camp, if I'm up in where there's humidity, I'm going to use the onboard furnace if I have to. If I'm plugged in, I'm using electric radiant heat, which doesn't produce any moisture. So Karen Hegeveld, I love your videos, so much to consider. Thank you, Karen. And that was on the heater. That was on the heating video. A lot of these comments are going to be on the heating video. California, wow, thanks for your hard work finding the best deals for us. I have a cold back room in my house. I may think about one of those. Your friends in Michigan, Susie. And best deals, this part of this video that always amazes me is this. It's about my ultimate heating solution, or at least the current one, and where I bought it. I bought it here in Quartzsite at RV Lifestyles, is an RV place. And here's something remarkable. Everybody has this picture in their head, this idea that everything in Quartzsite is overpriced and expensive, and they're ripping you off, man. They're ripping you off because they're after the tourists. Well, I discovered, to my utter delight, last year I went to RV Lifestyles because I needed to replace the toilet, my Dometic toilet, and I wanted the Dometic. I think it's the Dometic 320. It's a ceramic. It's pretty much the Cadillac of Dometic toilets. And I went there and they had one in stock, and I said, oh, I wonder how much more they're charging than Amazon. They were charging less. I was like, wow. I was amazed. And then when I was there, I discovered this Empire heater, and I got sold on it, and I checked the price there. And guess what? It was less than it was selling for on Amazon. So, wow, what is that? 1 off, 2 off? This year, in this video, I went to RV Lifestyles for 2 reasons. One, to make sure after I presented this amazing heater, I wanted to make sure they were still carrying it and they had them in stock. So I decided to complete the video at RV Lifestyles. While I was there, I wanted to buy an extra 20-pound propane tank. So I went and compared prices to their propane tanks, the exact same brand propane tank. It wasn't huge savings, but it was $2 less with tax. It was $2 less at RV Lifestyles than Amazon. The other thing I love about buying the heater there, they have a service department, and they service the heaters. Who'd have thunk? So, pretty exciting. They have not everything at Quartzsite is overpriced. And you know, I had a video where I went shopping, and I was at the Coyote Fresh Foods, and they have like a beautiful meat department, and I was comparing the prices to Walmart, and it was a little cheaper than Walmart, but it was like, I think if I remember right, it was less than $1 a pound more at Walmart up in Parker. This little tiny specialty local store, for ribeye, the difference was like less than $1 a pound. So is that worth driving, you know, what is it, 35 miles or 40 miles to Parker? And let's be real, you're going to not drive up there for one piece of meat, so you're probably going to save more money on other things, because clearly if you do a price by price, item by item comparison between this little local place and Walmart, it's going to be less in Walmart, but not that much less. You know, and would you rather be giving your money to the Walton family or the family that owns Coyote Fresh and Quartzsite? Me, I'd rather give it. I got nothing against the Waltons. There are plenty of people giving money to them, though. Let's give a little to Coyote Fresh. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, but the perception is, oh, there's this huge difference. Now, some items I think there are. I need to check, but I was like looking at brand name crackers, and it was like, for a box of crackers, it was like $7. I didn't bother looking it up on Walmart, but I was like, seems like that would be a big difference. So I bought more generic brand, like a brand I never heard of that looked identical to Ritz, and it was like $4.79 versus $7. And I thought, well, they're not going to taste as good. Guess what? I couldn't tell the difference. I've been eating them for 2 days. All right. Leo's Slatton says, I went with a diesel heater and it's great. It vents outside, so it's a lot safer. The only problem is if the wind blows the exhaust back into the trailer, also very cheap. And I responded to him and said, that is one solution I've never tried. Mea culpa. And the reason I didn't try it is you do have to put a vent into your trailer to do it. And that's maybe a job that's beyond my capability, and I have to hire somebody to do that. If it was possible to do a diesel heater without having to modify the trailer, I'm sure that's a solution I would have thought. I do know the fuel efficiency of the diesel heater is probably a lot better than propane. And while you hear lots of people with problems with diesel heaters, one is that there's lots of very cheap ones, lots of Chinese brand ones. Some are good, some are bad. And there's a lot of improper installation. So I think what I'm seeing, what I saw in my research was, if you buy the right diesel heater and you get the correct installation and correct maintenance, that it can be a really great source and maybe better than what I have. So I'll bow to that idea. It's just not, I don't share things that aren't really my direct experience, like this. So that's why I didn't include diesel heater, because I never tried it and I don't really know that much about it other than what I've read. Ken Gray, a man who understands. This was on positive news yesterday on a pilot, and he says, a man who understands that pizza makes everything better is willing to go the extra mile to take care of his charges. A United flight got delayed a lot. In the out of his own pocket, the pilot bought pizza for everybody on the plane. Nice guy. Danny Nomad on heating my RV. He says, I leave my propane furnace on with the thermostat very low, like around 50. It doesn't run much, just enough to keep it from freezing outside. It only gets chilly when I'm in bed, so I just bundle up with plenty of blankets. I do have 30-pound propane tanks, so my propane lasts quite a while. And I answered him, I said, I'd like it 75 when sleeping. There were nasty comments on that. People were vicious about me wanting to sleep warm. I get it that most people don't like it that warm, but that's my personal preference. That needs to be okay. Yeah, so I said I'd like it 75 when sleeping in the winter, so mine would run a lot. And Danny very politely and nicely says, yeah, my method definitely wouldn't work for folks who like it warm to sleep. What a nice guy. That's all I'm looking for. Danny's absolutely right that I was addressing a problem that was, maybe I didn't make it clear. It was probably more unique to me. I'm not sure. I use more fuel and more electricity with the furnace built into this thing because I like it so warm. So, let's see. Michael's Human says, great informative video. Elwood on the comments video. Hello, amigo, it's Elwood. I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate your long form videos where you're already going on your errands and you bring us to us real time. It's nice to hear your tour guide info and see how town is set up. I hope you record more of your errands, and I understand you're not going on errands to make a video. You're making a video because you're going on errands, because you've got stuff to do. I appreciate you taking us with you. Have a wonderful day and keep the videos coming. Yeah, that's going to be the bulk of my videos in Quartzsite are going to be, I'm going to go to town to do laundry, to go to the grocery store, to go get mail, and I'm going to take you with me, and you're going to see the drive, and you're going to hear me babble away, and you're going to come in with me to the store or the mail place or whatever, and those are going to be the videos. So they might get a little less exciting for you as we go on, but it's just going to be RV life in Quartzsite. Mike K55501, hey, great video. The one thing is the most expensive smoke detectors are the ones very slow at going off. They're not real sensitive. They're sensitive, but they're not like if you have a little smoldering smoke. I talked to the manufacturer. He told me the cheaper smoke detectors are highly more sensitive than the more expensive ones. So I have a cheap one. I put that over in a couple of spots where I think if you could have smoldering fire, like around batteries, around the center kitchen. I've had a piece of toast in my old toaster that would burn toast. I took it out, put it on a plate, went and sat down. All of a sudden, the thing, I guess, was a bit on fire, and I didn't know it. And it started up again. It started smoking. It kind of goes on. But the point is that he is right that the less expensive ones are more sensitive. The more expensive ones are differently sensitive, right? And what do I mean by that? They understand what cooking smoke, an acceptable level of cooking smoke is. The inexpensive ones don't. My alarm, anytime I was cooking on the stove it seemed to me, even with the fan above the stove going full, it would set off the smoke alarm. So I went to the more expensive one for two reasons, because they detect really genuine fire that you need to be alarmed about, and also it had built-in carbon monoxide. So I'm good with that. But he makes a point. If you are really sensitive about the possibility of fire, the cheaper ones are going to go off sooner. Yes, there you have it. And if you don't get one that goes off sooner, there's a little bit of risk you take. I get it. It's not a bad point. So that was MYK 55501. And Mark Aloni. Great info, beats driving to Parker for an RV store. Yeah, there's a RV store in Parker. I don't know if there's more than one, but on the way to Walmart on the left, there's an RV store there. And I stopped by there and looked around, and I actually priced the Dometic toilet, and it was considerably more money. It was like $20 more than RV Lifestyles. So that was one price point. Let's be fair. I didn't do a comprehensive review of their prices. Look like awesome heaters. Great video. That was from Irene Leiter. Trekking with Deborah and Mike. You have it all figured out, especially the Dottie alarm. And that's on the boondocking, my boondocking camp video. Glenn says, asks, how does the heater work and run without electricity? Does it have some sort of sensor inside that detects the propane is on and then ignites it? So it has a pilot light, right? And there's the pilot's on right now, and I probably should have shut it off because you were getting into the day. It usually in the morning, when I feel it's going to be warm enough for the whole day, I shut the pilot off. I shut the whole thing off. And then at night, when it starts to get cold, that's when I reignite the pilot light, and that stays lit when it cycles with the thermostat. So that's how it works without electricity. And certainly there's no fan or anything that blows the hot air, but it radiates very, very well. So no electricity at all. Living out our dreams. Hi, good morning. My husband and I are planning on coming out there in January to begin our adventure. I'm planning on moving out to Arizona, but hitting Quartzsite first. What is your opinion on camping? Where to? We understand they have the RV show and gem show in late January into February. What would you suggest for first-time RVers to avoid the craziness of it? There's a read more here. At that time of year, we unfortunately have no choice to end up out there any other later time. We're coming from the East Coast. Also been watching your videos, and you give out very good information. So my answer was, don't miss the big show. It's the best part. For me, it is anyway. It's exciting. I love the Big Tent show. If you're coming for a few days, you can stay in an RV park, but make sure you make reservations now before they book up. They didn't specifically mention boondocking, so I didn't give a big answer on the what do you call it, the LTVAs or the 14-day areas. And I assume if that's what they want, they'll respond to that comment, or if they're listening to that, they'll say, no, we want a boondock. Where do we go? And I'll give you, or maybe one of you will answer them, or I will. Super Sushi Dog. That's a good name. Super Sushi Dog. Wow, those Empire heaters look nice, and $400 isn't bad either. But the 260 Thermo King with a thermostat looks like the best buy. We've been living off-grid in our motorhome for the last 2 years. We use two things to heat our RV while boondocking. We have a ton of solar and batteries, so we use our high-efficiency heat pump. That's another one I haven't tried, to keep our bedroom warm, and use a Mr. Heater Buddy for a couple of hours in the morning to take the chill out of the air up front. Our furnace is a backup as it's very inefficient, but keeps our underbelly warm, so stops our pipes from freezing if the weather gets too cold. So we use it sparingly and only when needed. We boondocked in Yuma last winter and didn't use our furnace even once. You know what? There's a point that I didn't make in the video because it's not really usually applicable to me. And that is that my heat source doesn't prevent pipes underneath from freezing if it gets below freezing. But I'm so infrequently in an environment that gets that cold. But if I am, I do switch over into the main furnace, as they say, because it heats the underbelly and keeps pipes from freezing. So if I see that there's sometimes in Quartzsite, it can get really cold. It can get below freezing. That night, I will use the furnace and use up my battery. You know, I've got plenty of battery to run it all night. It's just it'll take some time to catch up. And especially now, I'm like at it's the sun hasn't come up yet, so it's 7:19. I'm at 88%, so I'll be to 100% in no time. So I've got plenty of capacity for that if I wanted to do it. But it's pretty much of a propane hog too. I think it's more of an open flame kind of thing, and it burns, I think, more propane. If I'm wrong about that, someone let me know. If I'm wrong about that, but I think it's pretty inefficient, not only with electricity, but propane, and that's your typical Dometic onboard furnace. All right, good. Thank you for the great comment. Oh, I screwed up. I hit the wrong thing. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Take a sip of your coffee while I figure out. Okay, we're back. Varian, what do you do, if anything, for moisture abatement? Like I said, and this was a nice. It's asking a question, not telling me I'm doing it wrong. LP gas releases about 0.8 gallons of water vapor per gallon for every gallon of propane burned. That's over 3/4 of a gallon for the decimal challenge folks. It doesn't matter if it's a Mr. Buddy heater or any type of catalyst heater. It doesn't have a flue. The exterior, you're getting the same amount of moisture. That's just science. So if you really want the science behind this, you can read this whole thing. It's pretty long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. He also points out the issue with heating the underbelly, which I just addressed. He has a micro mini too. And need the furnace set low, safety for enclosed holding tanks. There's a heat duct to the underbelly to keep the temperature above freezing, but not if the furnace is set to off. So I said, not a problem in the desert. My temperature gauge measures internal, external humidity. There's very little difference. And as I mentioned, if I'm in freezing temperatures, I'm using the onboard furnace. I'm not using my solution. And basically the only place I use this is here in Quartzsite, and otherwise it gets stored up in my little storage, and I'm up at 9,000 feet in the summer, and it gets there early in the summer, late in the summer, it can get cold enough to freeze, but not usually. But if it does, I would use the furnace, the onboard furnace. If I were boondocking, I just realized I'm not. I've got electricity. And on the shoulder seasons, I'm with hookups in Pahrump. But I do realize even with hookups in Pahrump, when it freezes, I have to use that furnace to heat the underbelly. So good, Varian gave some excellent scientific information. And the last line says, perhaps you should use an alternative solution. I am using an alternative solution. But it's kind of flattering to get someone to watch the video and be that engaged and that interested to take the time to write so much. So if you want the details, just go into the comments for that video and look for Varians, VAIRON 7474, and reread the whole thing. It's pretty interesting. It looks like pretty good factual information. RV Life 289, great information. I only use my furnace to get the chill out, usually 10 minutes. I have a radiator. I like it, but I'm going to look into the Empire heater. And then Rose says, that's some cool stuff for RV Life. Nice that Quartzsite has a place like that for RV life and cheaper than Amazon too. Safe, happy travels. James Connell, I've had to repair my Mr. Heater Buddy many times over the last 8 years. That's a thing too. When I had a Mr. Buddy heater, I had to go on YouTube and find repair videos and figure out how to get it running again. That's a pretty typical thing, but they cost less than $100. What do you want? I've been looking for campsite rock art petroforms around BLM campsites to photo with my drone. You could do that and make a video and add in the queue arrow fisherman if you know where enough campsite petroforms are around there, or maybe you or someone else could organize a campsite petroform competition between campsites. See what group could create the coolest one in a 20 by 20 square area. There's one in a wash behind my campsite. Maybe have a wash art competition. I mean, those sound like great ideas, but not something that I'd be interested in doing. Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that, James? And if you want to find a YouTuber to partner with, find someone that's interested in the petroforms. And maybe they'll do something with you. But is it something? I think it's cool, but not something I'm really interested in. The Wandering Pinto says, that looks like a great solution, but would not work for my trailer's too small, 12 feet long, 9-foot floor, nowhere to mount it. Until now, we've used a small electric heater, forcing us to stay at campgrounds with electric or be in place where we can run the generator. Heading to Quartzsite for the first time to RTR and wander around the Southwest, staying at a lot of BLM land. I purchased a Camco Wave 3 heater, see how it works for us. From now, I'll set it on the floor or countertop. If it works well, I may put it on a TV mount like a lot of van lighters do. I can tell you that the Wave 3 is probably going to work out very well for you in that size trailer. It worked well for me until the temperatures got below 40, and then it wasn't enough power. And then I got the Wave 6, and it was too much power. But you may be in the Goldilocks zone here for the Wave 3. And a lot of people put it on a TV mount, and it swings out during the night. I think you're going to be good. I think you made a good choice. Damien's detransition. Now he tells it, I spotted Olympia Wave 3 for my van, but now I'm buying a trailer, hopefully soon, under 20 feet, so I may have to sell my Olympian Wave. But is 10,000 BTU the lowest? All I thought of doing is creating dividers inside the trailer, because I know Olympian Wave 3 will not hit the entire thing. But since it's just me, I was thinking of dividing the bedroom and kitchen area, and then the living room area with some sort of divider that I'll rig up this way. And the living room can have the Olympia heater just there. Well, I would suggest you get your new trailer, try the Wave 3 without dividers. And then if you use dividers, like if you close off your living room it'll work just fine. But depending on the configuration of your trailer, how big it is, I tell you, the Wave 3 almost worked for me. And it's a 21-foot trailer with a slide out. I'm sitting in the slide out. It's a big slide out. It almost works. So it could, again, you could be another one in the Goldilocks zone for the Wave 3. Who knows? My buddy Cheryl has a trailer almost the same size as mine, and her Wave 3 works ideally for her. Perfectly. Now, let me say this. Cheryl likes sleeping colder than I do. Cheryl, like when I told Cheryl I like it at 75, she's like, "Are you kidding me?" She said I wouldn't be able to sleep a wink. So that could be the difference too. So, but I would, get a new. Don't buy a new heater yet. Try that Wave 3. Ken Gray, you moved in the style of I Dream of Jeannie rather than Star Trek, but it was good still. That's just, I did the transition. I said I'm going to use my transporter and transport myself from the trailer to RV Lifestyles, and I just did a hard cut on the editing, and Ken says that's not really Star Trek. That's more like, remember Jeannie? Like she'd go like that and she would pop somewhere. Thanks for the info on getting a heater with a thermostat. Yeah, it's been a game changer for me. Happy Rooster, 2 quick things. I would recommend you change the CO2 detector by the clock to monitor. They have a display that will show any amount of CO2, not just a lethal level. Also be sure to calibrate your propane detector out in the fresh air. And I said it's a CO. It's a CO, and I had to tell him it's a CO detector, not CO2. And very different gases. I'm confident in how I have it set up. And I guess now that I think about it, his point, he probably meant CO detector. CO2 is carbon dioxide. CO is carbon monoxide. So maybe I'm splitting hairs here. But what he's saying is I don't have a display on mine that shows the level. And yeah, it would be nicer to have one that would show the level, the actual level, not, and it, believe me, it goes off far below absolute lethal level. I mean, you have high levels of carbon monoxide. It's not immediately going to get you sick. It gets you sick if you're breathing in high levels for hours. That's what gets you sick. So I'm pretty confident with what I have, but if it had a display, yeah, that would be better. And you know what? Now that I think about it, if I had to do over, if I could find one with a display that wasn't exorbitant price, I would have done that. So I'm going to call it a good point. But I am confident, and I said here, I'm confident in how I set it up. Let's see. Naj says, I think you got it covered. You have backups for your gas detection system. Randy says, I really appreciate this video. I remember last year when you got your heater and I thought it was a great setup. I would do that for sure. I'm only in a van right now, so I bought a low volt space heater. I hope to find a casita or a tab by now, but who knows, maybe I'll find something out there. I said there's a lot out here for sale and nearby Phoenix. So Randy, if you're hell-bent on finding a casita, I know they're hard to find and they're expensive. You stand a pretty good chance when you're out here if you're willing to make you might have to run into Yuma or Phoenix, but I bet you could find one. Bob Martins, I boondock in Arizona all winter and all night. I like it 50. Whoa, that's 25 degrees cooler than I like it. So I use furnace set low, makes sense. Snuggle in my comfort all night, sleep like a baby. I'm a little jealous, Bob. I'm jealous. Hiker 97. I'll be coming out in my minivan camper, and I just added a 2K diesel heater. Startup takes 12 amps for a few minutes, then less than an amp while running. That's nothing. 12 volt, 100 amp hour battery, 200 watts of solar. Also runs a car fridge, 12 volt TV, some lights, fans, etc., and charges my phone and tablet. Hiker, you got it wired, my friend. That's great. That's great. Larry Nunn, 6354. I've never had a problem with hearing or he meant heating. I never had a problem with heating or air because of something everyone should do. And in my third RV trailer, they never do it. And something they're very sloppy. Go through your RV and air sealed. You'll be amazed at the leaks. They leave running wires and pipes and holes. So even your big slides have air leaks. Probably absolutely true, Larry. No doubt. Pete, only one more Not only more great information, but also entertaining. Love coming home from work to your videos. It's my new hobby. You have a great way of making things simple to understand. Well, thanks, Pete. And Mark, great video, very informative. Mark Osborne, thank you, Mark. KE Theme, or KYFEAM, we decided to go with a diesel heater. Dry heat, cheap, sips diesel. Certain models have a thermostat. Once the globe plug ramps up, you just have the fan going. He uses between 10 and 20 watts. Has a remote with Bluetooth app so you can control it from your phone. Excellent. That sounds great. And I even answered said that sounds great. Judy Rhodes. How long will your heater run on a 20-pound tank? And I calculated 11 to 12 days. With the current temperatures hovering around 40 overnight and getting it up to 75. So that's pretty good, getting it up to 75. If I were a 50-degree sleeper, my propane would be close to zero usage probably. Larry Clark, that handles your living area, but does it get to your basement? Again, someone good thinking. What about when your pipes might freeze? And I said no, and something I do not need because I do not experience low enough temperatures. If I ever do, I would use the built-in furnace. And Rob says, wow, Rob Hebb says, wow, over 7,000 views. Good for you, Rob. And it's like 10,000 now, 10,100. And that was 10 hours ago, so 3,000 views in 10 hours. For anyone that's concerned, oh, this is really good. I'm going to read this whole thing because a lot of people get confused between carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. And Spark is a scientific person. They explained it. For anyone that's concerned, here's the differences. Carbon monoxide, CO, is an odorless, colorless, and tasteless but dangerous gas. Carbon monoxide is produced when fuels such as gasoline, natural gas, oil, kerosene, wood, or charcoal are burned. Breathing CO reduces the blood's ability to carry oxygen. It can reach dangerous levels indoors or outdoors, whereas carbon dioxide, commonly abbreviated as CO2, is a clear gas composed of one atom of carbon and two atoms of oxygen. Carbon dioxide is one of many molecules where carbon is commonly found. Carbon dioxide is one of many molecules where carbon is commonly found on Earth. It does not burn, and in standard temperature and pressure conditions, it is stable, inert, and non-toxic. Hello. Perfect explanation. And a very smart person. That is great. And like you can see why I said I don't need a carbon dioxide detector unless I was interested in air purity or something. I have no idea. But it certainly has nothing to do with my heater. So let's reload, see what's happened. And that's it. That's the comments today from Quartzsite, Arizona. And I'll see you with comments tomorrow.